2007 and was celebrated in 2013 as one of the Fab 5 top designers in Dallas by Luxe Magazine, as well as Roche Bobois. What I feel separates Anne Smiley's work and her direction from most all designers is that she definitely has this ability to develop a very tight trust with her clients, as well as the ability to bring in fine art into their home. She's not intimidated about that. So I wanted to ask you about that process. So was that from the beginning that you, as a designer, felt like I can include art in my projects, or did that come in time?
From the beginning, I wanted to.
Yeah.
But am I not, is it not working? I may have to use your mic. He told me we might have, is it working? No.
Yeah.
You go, sure.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. From the beginning, of course, I wanted to, because
You know, it's maybe
I'll just keep it on.
How's that?
Still working?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Okay. Just like Sloan, from age 3, I knew art was my thing. It was absolutely my thing. I mean, I grabbed every scrap of fabric, of matchbox, whatever I could put together to color, build some furniture for my dolls or whatever. And it was just, I sit and look at my mom's Montgomery Ward catalogs at the squares in the back. They had squares where you could order fabrics. And I mean, this page of all of this color, I could just taste those colors. And so from a very, very early age, and I don't think this is unique, I think many, many children who are discussing this really have a love of art early on, and I did. But I had an epiphany when I was about 9. My brother, much older brother, was doing custom home building, and he brought home a set of floor plans. And I looked at it and said, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I just had never, ever seen anything like it, and I will show you. This is a drawing that I did when I was 9 years old. This is my first architectural drawing. And so from that point, I really wanted to, I had a little shift from art, thinking, oh, I want to be an architect. Well, I started to college in '65, and at that time, you know, the climate on the east and west coast was just wild with hippies and all of that, but hadn't hit Oklahoma. And so when I went to enroll in architecture, the dean himself came out and said, Miss Austin, women do not enroll in architecture. And because I was raised to respect authority, I said, okay, fine. And I'll walk across the street and enroll in art. That was my first love anyway. Well, the climate had hit the art department. And if you were interested in doing figurative drawing, and you weren't interested in putting a phallic symbol in everything you drew, you were stupid and you had no talent. And so I struggled through the first year of art and said, this is not for me, and I didn't know what I was going to do. Then, and it was so discouraging to me because I loved art, and I really loved what all was going on. Really great artists at that time, Oldenburg, I mean, all of the really pop artists and everything, just some great things, but art for us at that time was not wonderful. So I back to my brother, I went to work for him for the summer, and he had an interior designer working for him, and I said, okay, that's the deal. I could get to use art, I get to touch fabrics, I get to be involved in shapes and textures. That's what I'm going to do. And went back and enrolled in interior design, and here I am, over 40 years later. So, but art, from the beginning, you can imagine when we start out as interior designers, we don't have clients that would put a lot of faith in us to guide them to go buy a $30,000 piece of art. That's not where you start out. But even from the beginning, I always wanted to include art in every project. being able to now be able to sell fine art from galleries has developed over the years of just finally getting to that clientele who can afford that process. Not that there is not art affordable even for the beginning jobs. What it amounted to for me mostly was using prints. You know, you can find prints of really good art, and did that an awful lot. But now I'm so thrilled that I do have a clientele who not only trust me to guide them to choose art with them, but who are willing to pay for it. And so I'm also very, very thankful for our fabulous galleries who are willing to work with us designers. And when I come down and in 30 minutes say, I want to take this, 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 and this, and this, they say, okay, when are you picking it up? And it's just the greatest thing to get to do that.
Right, absolutely. So, tell me about, right now in Pager Magazine, it's a wonderful magazine, there's a beautiful project that you steered, which is the Ranch project. Can you talk about this and what happened and what
Sure.
art?
This is a client that I've worked with was over several years, over several projects. And each project always, when we finish the project, always involves finishing with art. I'm not really one too much for using accessories to finish a project, but when I leave a project, I do want it to be finished, photo ready. I mean, what you see on our photographs on our website, that's really how the job looks when we leave, because we leave them photo ready. And that involves making sure there is art in that world, because to me, art is just an incredible element that we've got to include in our lives to be able to have joy. I think it brings joy into people's homes. I really do. I do not, and I think she may be able to speak to this, I do not really have but one client who actually collects art for the value and for an investment. My clients want to buy art to enhance their living space, to enhance their lives, to bring joy. And that is really my MO about art too. That's why I love all of your art, because it does that. It really brings joy.
That was my next question is how would you see Hunt as a part of your project?
Well, you know, I've already taken one of those pieces out.
Didn't stay over long.
The only problem is they had a problem with a rabbit in their front yard, and they said, no rabbits.
Who would have known that?
How would I know? But I really do. I love happy art. I know there are a lot of people in Dallas, or not a lot, but maybe several in Dallas now, who are, and we're so thankful that they are, buying museum quality art. And that's fabulous. What a joy that would be. That's not my world. My world is dealing with us real people in their homes, placing art there that just enhances their lives. And what was the question? I'm sorry, I'm too verbose.
Well, it was, I think you got it. I was wondering about where Hunt would fit, and so I think the answer is that it is art that enhances your life. It does make you happy. When you look at his bunnies, I mean, I particularly have an affection for the bunnies, but I always see like people that I know in each piece. They become, humanized in a sense.
Well, and not only that, but Hunt, when you get involved with art, it's a process. It's so funny, I say that so many of my clients start out and they've got the Monet Impressionist stuff, the copies, that's where they start, and I'm going, it's not a bad thing, it's just that there's a world beyond that. There's been 2 centuries since then, so let's move on. Or a century, whatever it is. But to help, there's a process, and what I see in Hunt's work, and this is, having gone through watching art all the years, is layers. It's not just bunnies. You start looking at his art and you're going to see layers of color. You're going to see layers of texture and layers of color And so that doesn't just happen. I mean, that is a skilled artist that's developed that style. That's exciting to me. And to be able to show a client the difference in, there's nothing wrong with your impressionist, but look what's happening now in the 21st century. Look what these artists are doing now. Gosh, there's so many things, and that's what thrills me, I think, the most, are artists are always thinking out of the box. And the way they are doing art now is just so exciting. And I think that if the guys from Paris, Picasso and all of them, I think if they were here, they would be so excited to see what all's going on. I'm looking at the tree back here with the porcelain that is all over that tree. I mean, what a fun thing that artist came up with. That is what I really love about art. And thank goodness our galleries here in Dallas are featuring artists that are just doing all sorts of cutting edge things with all sorts of materials. It's really cool.
Yes, thank you. So one last topic. So if I were coming out of school as a designer, what words of wisdom would you share at this point?
If you were coming out of school as a
Yeah.
designer?
Yeah, as a designer. If you were starting,
I would
what would you
I would say don't get discouraged.
Okay.
I would say hang in there. It's a process, and it's really a learning process. And if you hang in there, you are going to be so thrilled when you get to be my age. And it really gets fun. So hang in, don't get discouraged.
Thank you so much. So now I'd like to round out